anyone really getting into something new, you want to be as close to people who are inspirational or who people are successful. Don't panic. You know what you're doing. You just have to get it in front of more people.
No one else is you. You have your story. You have people that are going to resonate with you.
Don't just think because you've got great products, people are going to come. Build your brand beforehand. You need to have a support system. No one does this alone. There's times I have to sit myself down in the mirror and be like, if you want this to work, you need to do your work.
Hey guys, today is a different one. So in this video, I sit down with Roshan from the Glowcery, an award-winning superfood skincare brand, which she built from scratch after leaving her law career in criminal law. So in this video, we're going to be talking about her journey, how she got started, her struggles along the way, and what she would recommend to you guys just starting out. And then we're going to switch it up. In the second half, I'm going to put my marketing brain on because I run my advertiser and creative agency, and she's going to ask me a few questions as I've helped grow, 6- and 7-figure brands, and how she can apply those strategies to her business. Also, of course, we're going to be linking in my event and why spaces and communities like that are important. So before I go on, let's get into the video. Before we talk about strategy, we need to know who Roshanne is. This is because, your story, there might be people wanting to start a business or wanting to start a skincare business, and actually understanding how you got into what you're doing, I think is super important. So before you started, you were working in criminal and human rights?
Correct.
Yeah. And that's literally as far away from skincare you can get. So what happened and how did the Glowcery come up?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me. Really excited to be here. So it started, the journey seems like such a long time now. So I graduated from Keele University with a law conversion degree, and I had it in my head that I was going to be like the next international criminal human rights lawyer. My mum had worked in the legal industry for a while, and I kind of took inspiration from that. So that was initially my career path. Having said that, what I found out really that law that you learn at uni, so the theory side, can be extremely different to what it is like practically working in an office day to day. Unfortunately, from my experience, studying law at university didn't really teach me how to then deal with the well-being side. Like, how do you deal with when you're stressed, emotional, when you're dealing with these highly violent cases? How do you make sure that your well-being is protected? So that's exactly what I experienced in working in criminal human rights law. I was working on over 250 joint enterprise murder cases.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so I was working under a solicitor, and me and my colleague were working on these cases. It was following the Court of Appeals landmark ruling that the law had taken a wrong turn. So all of these clients that had been convicted under this law, then we were trying to see whether we could progress their cases to an appeal. So working on these kind of really exciting but really challenging cases with a range of emotions, I just think at that time I didn't really know how to look after my well-being, and that did lead to me getting burnout and stress, and it manifested in my body as exhaustion, but then started showing from my skin as hyperpigmentation, dullness, and acne. So that's where I was kind of thinking, okay, let me go to the shop. Surely there must be some sort of cream, oil, or potion that I can use to help with my skin. But I quickly noticed that there's a nutrition gap in skincare, and a lot of the products are made with ultra-processed ingredients. And they're not great for your skin, they're not great for the environment. So just very one-track minded, I thought, this is how the Glowcery started. Yeah, and that's how I started thinking, okay, so if I know that in order to take care of my well-being and my burnout in my body, I need to start taking better care of myself. The same has to apply to my skincare routine. I need to be reading the ingredients list. I need to be making sure that all the ingredients are nourishing, vegan, cruelty-free, etc., because that's then going to have an impact on my skin's health. So that's how the Glowcery came about.
Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, you launched it was COVID time, 2020. So when you were kind of getting started, what did those early days look like, and how did it kind of shape the business? Not just COVID, but like starting it out, figuring it out. I'm guessing you didn't necessarily have a business background, as it was like, from my experience, it was YouTube University. But yeah, how was those early stages?
It have to be honest, it was terrifying because I had just come from law and I thought, okay, Glowcery now. And then you started hearing the whispers about pandemic and closing, like global shutdown. And I thought, oh my goodness, I know. Again, like I've just gone through like the trials and tribulations to leave law, to retrain as a skincare formulator, to now have the business acumen and skills to launch a business. And now it seems like the whole world is shutting down. So initially I was, if I'm being honest, I was petrified that I'd made the wrong decision. And I was contemplating pushing back the launch because it was always going to be March. But I thought, okay, the news was telling us only 2 weeks, right? So I thought, okay, we'll wait out for 2 weeks and then launch after that. But thank goodness I did it because we're still feeling the ramifications of it now. But when I did launch, it was like a kind of like exciting, is exciting the word to use? I would say for a skincare business, it still felt like the right time because people were at home, people were taking more care of, people were seeing what their skin looked like on Zoom and Google Teams. People had more disposable income because we weren't going anywhere. I suppose taking care of yourself became more of a thing that should be a priority rather than an afterthought. So it actually turned out to be a really great time. And I'm grateful that I didn't push it back because, I don't know, I do think it was kind of like a ripe time for a new business, a skincare business to launch during that time, especially what we saw with in America, like in George Floyd, there was a lot of support by Black-owned businesses. So it did seem like a really timely position to launch the brand. So it worked out, in my favor. It was a good,
Listening to Sky's
kind of hard to describe because we went through war during that time, and it was just such a different time. But I would say from the business perspective, it was quite a good time. Yeah.
And so how did you kind of navigate starting the business completely by yourself, learning the different things you needed to know? Because I feel like there might be someone watching there thinking, okay, I'm going to do something similar, but I don't know how to know about it at all.
Yeah, so initially I took a course, so it's called Formula Britannica, and I studied their international student program, and it was really in depth. As you said, I came from a law background. I didn't know, apart from like recipe making from the bloggers following like the natural skincare blogs, like 2 teaspoons of this, 1 drop of that, I didn't really have the professional skills to not only start a business, but back myself if I was challenged on like our ingredients or why this formulation looked like it did. So I knew for my own peace of mind, I needed to get professional skills. And this is what the course taught me. It was a 2-year course, self-taught online, and it gave me, and it basically was the theory behind how to make natural skincare products, the safety testing that you need to have done externally, regulations, and then there was a part about building a brand. So what your font wants to look, what your font, tone of voice, who your target market is going to be. So that course, I would say for anyone who is kind of like changing careers and wants to build a skincare brand, that course was like instrumental. I do think I would have been behind if I hadn't done that course. And I do think that course gave me the confidence to launch the Glowcery, but also like back why I decided to use the ingredients that I did. So I would say, what I have to say, that course is really instrumental.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us what the Glowcery is about, what it stands for. I'm guessing it's more than just skincare. You're actually helping people. I'm sure as the business is growing, you're kind of seeing people, whether it's get more confident or so you tell us about that.
Yeah, it definitely is that. I would say the brand is all about restoration, and a lot of our customers, they're stressed, they're depleted, they're overworked, they're burnt out, and it's showing up in their skin. So they want products that are going to help reset them, rebalance them in a way that aligns with their lifestyle. They're already reading the ingredients list on their food. They already care about the materials that are in their clothes or just how they're living their life, and they want a skincare brand to really reflect that. And a lot of people come to us because we align with their lifestyle values. As I said, it's really important that our ingredients are nourishing, not only for your skin, but for the environment as well. And a lot of customers who use the Glowcery really champion and value that. And as you said, a lot of our customers have come with, oh, I may be going through the menopause and my skin's a bit drier. Let me use Clean Glue's face oil. Or they've tried the viral products that they've seen on social media. They haven't had the results that they wanted, and they're looking for something that is effective but still aligns with those natural vegan and cruelty-free values. So it's been great. I would say that's probably one of the best things to come out of starting a skincare brand. Seeing the transformation from reading the reviews of people saying 4 years ago I wouldn't leave my house without makeup, and now having used like Clean Greens or Blue Dew in my routine for the past 3 years, I feel more confident. My partner's noticed it. That kind of thing is just really nice. It's great to see the transformation.
Okay, so when it comes to building a business, I feel like a lot of people, especially people see on social media, the positives, the glitz and glam, there's a lot of struggles, there's a lot of mistakes with it. And obviously you took that leap from quitting your job to starting the business. What made you, other than the burnout, because I'm guessing there was still a lot of anxiety around, is this going to work? Am I going to like go down this? What made you actually take that leap and go down the business route than the self-employed route? And what are some things you kind of think, I wish I knew when I started?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So for me, I was just like, Rosh, you got to pick your heart. You're already, you know what I mean, in criminal law. You're enjoying it, but it's taking a toll on you. Why not just try? Let's just see. I think I've always been that way. I don't know why. I think maybe eldest daughter. And yeah, I'm just like, I'll make the decision and I'll make it the right decision. And it was literally that. You know what the journey potentially looks like if you stay in criminal law, and just take a bet on yourself. And it was literally just that. And as I said, the course did give me the confidence to then be like, okay, Rosh, you actually know what you're doing here. You might as well try it. Why not? If it don't work out, you can go back to criminal law. You've got the education, you've got the skills behind you. But it was one of those ones where I was just like to myself, I'm gonna back myself and give it a go.
Yeah.
But to the second part of your question, what I wish I would have known from the jump, to build your brand beforehand. Don't just think that because you've got great products, people are going to come.
This is very true.
Like, great products in this day and age are table stakes. Quite a lot of brands have great products. It's the story behind it. People want to connect with your why as a founder. They want to connect with you. So I wish I would have known how to build up the brand more so that there was more of an emotional connection with our community before them launching the products, because it's a lot easier, I would say, to bring them on the journey when you're building it up, rather than to now I'm in the position of saying, we've built this brand, this is why it's great. Bringing them on the journey with me would have been a lot better. So I would say if anyone is looking to start a business, bring them on the journey.
Yeah.
We have to.
That ties nicely as my next question, actually, because it's on brand and identity and standing out in a saturated market. And I know the skincare industry is a very saturated market, but how did you kind of go about building your brand, learning how to navigate that and standing out from competitors? Because I feel like as well, when people say, oh, it's a saturated market, you can't go into such a saturated market. No one else is you.
Yeah.
You have your story. You have people that are going to resonate with you. And I just think, yes, it's saturated, but no one's out there.
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, as you said, there's different ways to market your brand. And I think what makes the Glowcery different is that nutrient-dense angle. We treat skincare as food. So we're really intentional about the ingredients we're using, where we're sourcing the products from, making sure that it's cruelty-free and vegan, and essentially giving your skin a healthy diet. And we've seen consumer behavior move towards that in the food and drink and lifestyle space. People want healthier choices for their body. And I don't see a lot of brands really making that nutrient dense angle like what the Glowcery does. A lot of brands at the minute are natural versus chemical or free from, and whilst that is good, in my opinion, it doesn't go deep enough, because a natural skincare brand can still have ultra refined ingredients in it. Free from brands can still use animal products, or can still be tested on animals. So I think the angle of aligning skincare as food for your largest organ is really the Glowcery's differentiator.
So when it comes to actually putting out content and making sure you're getting those sales, how did you create a sales system to know who to speak to, make sure your content is going to out to the right people, and actually bring in those sales? Because I know some people just post ad hoc and be like, oh, I'm not getting in any sales, and it's been 3 months, but they have no real strategy to bring those people in.
Yeah. So initially I just thought, okay, you started this brand because you had an issue. What would people in your position need? They probably time poor. They want their skincare routine to be a few steps where they want it to be effective. And then and most likely they're stressed and burnt out. So they want something that's going to help to restore their skin. So, but breaking on that, I was like, okay, you need to know what's in the product. So you need to be talking about the skincare benefits. You need to be talking about how the product works. So Blue Dew, for example, is a 2-in-1. It's a really quick cleanser to use. So if you are time poor, you're still going to get the great effects of a cleanser without having to use 2 products. I also then tied into a lot to my founder story of working from non-human rights law, being stressed, and then seeing the transformation not only in my body but in my skincare routine. So those have been the 3 things that I've really stuck to. And also then thinking about, okay, so if my target audience is X, what does their journey from waking up in the morning to going to the office look like? What are the touch points that I can try and interweave my product into, so it becomes more of not an add-on, just something that is a part of their lifestyle or routine already. So I have to say, those have been what I've been trying to do. It has been challenging because with different social media platforms requires different things, but I have noticed that, especially with my founder story, that tends to generate a lot of interest and traffic to the website. So it's been a mix.
Yeah,
it has.
But it first started off with action, understanding your customer.
100%. Yeah, being like, this is me, the customer is me, this is what I needed, so surely the customer wants to know X, Y, Z. And then once getting the customers in, speaking to them, and be like, what was it that made you buy the Glowcery? Oh, okay, you really like the fact that it was from my founder, or you really like the nutrient dense angle. Okay, so that shows me that I need to be talking about that more, even on socials, because this is what actually the customers I want it.
Right. Yeah. And as a Black female founder in the beauty space, how has that shaped your experience in building the business and using your story as part of the brand? Because sometimes, maybe less so now, because I feel like the barriers have come down and there are a lot more Black female founders who are doing amazing things, but there is still that sort of barrier. So have you experienced it? And if so, or you might not have, but if you have, what has that experience been like?
It has been great because I've surrounded myself with founder friends from not so much beauty, but different sectors that really get it. So if I have felt like, oh, I've reached out to someone and they haven't got back to me, or I wasn't expecting this comment, or from someone who's tried the product, or just someone who's been on our socials, then I've got more of a support system to help me out. So yeah, I have to be honest, I have had a good experience. That's good. That's not so negative. I have had a good experience. Of course there's negatives with everything. For me, you look at other people's journey, you think, oh my God, they've started, and then you compare.
Yeah.
So a lot of it probably has been more self-inflicted than receiving any negativity from the industry. Yeah.
And I mean, I suppose that ties nicely into the event too, because you mentioned surrounding yourself with good people, whether that's founders, where you can, because your experience will be quite similar. And when your struggles, you can kind of bounce ideas off of them and kind of talk about, how do I do this? How do I navigate that? But yeah, we'll get onto that shortly. So where do you kind of want to take the Glowcery? What are the future plans?
The future plans, honestly, world domination as sustainably and ethically as possible. I do see the Glowcery as an internationally successful brand. Obviously, you've got to take baby steps to get there. But when I started this business, I had always thought on my vision board, always dreamt of it reaching the far corners of the globe, giving women who are historically stressed out, burnt out, and depleted the opportunity to rest and restore their skin and their overall well-being, and then give them the confidence to step out as their highest self. Because when you look good, you feel good, and it just reverberates. And then I just think that just helps raise the vibrations of everyone you're around. So the goal is global.
Domination. Alrighty, and now building a product brand from scratch, I feel like it's a hard thing to do. It's a difficult because I'm more service based, and that's difficult in itself. But like the packaging, the sourcing, the like doing all of that, and you do it all yourself as well. So what does that kind of look like day to day? Formulating, making the actual product, packaging, marketing, selling. How do you go about it?
Honestly, it is like spinning 8 plates at once. I don't know, I've got like a touch of ADHD because it just seems to be like I'm just spinning and you just get it done. But it is challenging. I would say a product business especially, it's just so expensive because you have to invest so much money for it then to get the ball, even to just get the ball rolling. You have to think of your ingredients, especially with the Glowcery. We're sourcing like cold pressed, nutrient dense ingredients. So they come at a cost. You've then got to get the packaging. You've then got to make sure that you've got all your good manufacturing practice in place, you're abiding by all the legal regulations. You're doing your marketing, you're doing your outreach, you're doing your gifting, which comes at a cost. So I would say that has been what's been the biggest struggle, if I'm being honest. Building a skincare brand bootstrapped, there's always some sacrifice that you have to do. It could be, I really wanted to do this event, but I know that I've got to factor in that we're launching a new product, so I'm gonna have to put my resources there. So that has been challenging. The day-to-day, I think because I've got a routine now, it's usually pack orders, schedule the social media, do my like personal branding content as well, outreach, emails. Thankfully, I'm working with a PR this year who's been doing like the influencer outreach and like gifting. But yeah, every day's different. Every day's different.
If you want to grow it even further, do you plan to like outsource?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's the next step. And I hope that next step comes imminently because that has to be the most time intensive aspect of the business. So yes, the next step would be to outsource that.
And would you say like, because you've won a couple of awards for the business as well after that, would you say that has kind of helped? What has it done for the business, and how was it when you got those awards?
Yeah, it was great. So the first award we got was the Women's Health Beauty Award for Clean Greens. It was voted best facial oil of 2020. So that was literally 6 months after we launched. We launched in March and we got that in September, I believe. So that was the first award. And that was surreal, to be honest with you, because looking at the competitors that we were up against quite a few legacy skincare brands that had been in the game for ages, that had the multi-million-pound budgets. So to have that was a massive kudos. And it was also a massive validation that I had got it right. You know what I mean? That all of the trials and tribulations to get to the point of actually having a physical product was worth it, because I got backing from esteemed journalists who'd been in the industry for decades.
I was going to say years,
decades, literally. And then the second award was for Blue Dew Fruit Enzyme Cleanser. So we won Best Cleanser in the Cosmopolitan Beauty Awards. And again, that was really like validating, because the email from the Cosmopolitan team was saying that everyone really loved the cleanser. It was a really standout. We love that the fact that you're using fruit enzymes in there to give it a gentle exfoliation. So that was even more kudos to be like, gosh, don't panic. Like, you know what you're doing. You just have to get it in front of more people. And I suppose that's always the challenge. You have the great products. It's getting it in front of people, which that PR for the to awards being like, oh, when I do this morning has helped.
And I've heard as well, a lot of people kind of start and they think like, oh my gosh, everything needs to be perfect. Oh my gosh, they have that whole imposter syndrome. But once you start, like, even I feel like with my YouTube or for my business, you are going to make mistakes at the start. You are going to maybe have upset customers, but as the time goes on, the validation will come. And also, not just the validation from other people, but I think you prove to yourself that you can do it. Even without the awards, you kind of saw, look, I put together the packaging. I've done this myself. So it was that validation from yourself because you built the confidence from actually doing it, instead of being, I know sometimes I can be analyst paralysis.
Literally.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do it because nothing is perfect. So yeah.
I get myself into that position as well, but it's exactly what you said. It's the start. Everyone always says, and it is just so true because you hear it on podcasts and people are like, it's just the starting that's the biggest hurdle. And it is, because you do wind yourself up to such a perfectionist point where you're like, okay, as you said, I'm not going to do anything. And I was very nearly there, as I said at the beginning of our conversation, when it come to making the decision of whether to launch during COVID. I was very close to putting it on the back burner, and who knows, had I done, what the journey would have looked like now. So yeah, just get started.
Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. Now, kind of going back to what you said about community and having the right people around you and going to the events, thinking about the event, why do you think it is important to have spaces like that? And why do you think, not only just talking about the event, but surrounding yourself with, let's say if you wanted to start a business, or not even start a business, you wanted to learn about investing or building a personal brand, but you don't necessarily have family who speak about those things or a circle that speaks about those things. How important was it for you to have that, network of people?
It's very important. I think, especially as a solo founder or anyone really getting into something new, you want to be as close to people who are inspirational or who people are successful in your field as possible. And not having, female founders in my life that have built skincare brands, global skincare brands, the closest thing for me was to be like, okay, well, so you've got to get to events. You've got to start building your network to get as close to the juice and the gory details as possible, because I suppose it reverberates. If you're around that, you're picking up tips and tricks, you're building connections, and it's vital. I think it's vitally important to be able to be in a space where you can learn and listen and feed off people in your industry, because it is different working from a 9 to 5 to then going into entrepreneurship. It is different, and the mindset sort of is different. So you have to, I think a lot of entrepreneurs we just quit. You just have to be. You just have to be, because you just don't have time to sit around and twiddle your thumbs and be like, okay, so is this decision right? And you don't really have that safety net of a 9 to 5. Yeah, like, I can afford just to sit on this phone.
Exactly. You have to be, and no one else is pushing you either. Exactly. Because when you're like, let's say you're coming out of school, you have your teachers telling you, you need to do this. It needs to be on this day. If you have a boss, it's like, okay, you need to be here at this time. You need to have this deliverable by this date. When it's you, if you don't get that package to the customer, it's going to be on your back. If you don't put that post out, you're not going to be it's on your back. You're not going to be bringing in any stuff. So you have to sit down and be like,
it's very humbling. It's this journey, entrepreneurship is very it's a humbling journey, because it's a very personal journey as well, because you have to look at the amount of times I had to sit myself down in the mirror and be like, Roshanne, okay, so if you want this to work, you need to do your what? Yeah. You say you want to do X, Y, Z, but you're coming home, chilling, and sitting on TikTok all day. Do your content, girl, because you've got stuff to edit. You've got customers to find. Yeah. So you have to be really raw and honest with yourself about, as you said, getting the work done, and surrounding yourself with people who are like that will inevitably push you also to be like, yeah. So I think that's why going to events, is extremely important. It is important.
So what would you say to the person sat on the fence thinking, should I go? Is it going to be worth it? Why they should go?
It's absolutely worth it. As we've discussed, it's not just, even though you're yourself are, you might be a solo founder building the business, it takes a village. I'm telling you. And in order to continue to put up with the extreme highs and the crushing lows that do come with entrepreneurship, you need to have a support system. No one does this alone, and it would be foolish to think that you can do it on your own. So attending the event, and not only attending the event, making sure you're working the room and introducing yourself and what you're looking to build is vitally important for anyone starting out. I still do it. I've been in building the Glowcery for 6 years now. I still go out there and continue to build my network, to introduce the Glowcery to new people, because you may think you've said it thousands of times, but it could be the first time anyone's come across you or has come across your brand. So it's important. People need to be coming. You need to be coming, especially if you want something that is going to, I was going to say help your business, but it's going to help you. This is going to help you, which will in turn help you run your business better. Yeah. So it is vitally important. It is.
Alrighty. Now moving on to the strategy session.
Gotta give it a text.
Good needed onto the strategy session. Guys, what I thought we'd do, because I have a big marketing background, obviously, with my business, and I've worked with a lot of hair and beauty companies, is kind of sit down and we speak about ways the business can grow. And obviously, if you have a business, you might relate to some of the struggles Roshanne is going through right now, and these things might help you. So we'll go through your question, and then we'll go through a couple of the things I put together.
So I've got my questions here. So my first question would be, based on what you've seen from the Glowcery content, where do you think I'm leaving the most opportunity on the table? And what's one channel or tactic you think I should prioritize first?
I would say, so having a scan through the socials, I think what you do really well anyway is the founder story. I think people will see themselves and connect to the brands, and they'll be like, oh, this is not just a skincare brand. Like, there's a million other skincare brands out there, but I can relate to, whether it's feeling burnt out, I can relate to the story, and there's more connection behind it. Maybe I'd say more so looking at UGC, UGC creators. Yeah. And in my opinion, that I say to my clients all the time, that doesn't have to be big influencers, as long as what you spoke about earlier, you know who your target customer is. If you're, let's say, targeting, well, you tell me who, because I can target customer.
So I would say our target customer is definitely, she's mid-30s, late 20s. She is very ambitious. So it could be in a corporate career or just going after building a business herself. She really values that natural, clean, holistic style of living. She's already reading her food labels and wants a skincare brand to align with that. Yeah.
Okay, so it would be then featuring a woman who looks like, let's say, we'll call the person Hannah. Okay, we'll call the person Hannah. And she's getting really burnt out at work. It's then using someone that looks like Hannah in your, your content strategy and UGC person, and being like, okay, talk about why the struggles you faced before you use the product, what the product has done for you, the ease of now you feel more confident. And that's the thing as well. You want to show the transformation it gives from going to stress, unhappy, not feeling confident, and now I feel better in my skin when I go to parties, or when I go to, now it's maybe even now it's sunny and nice outside, I can walk outside and not feel self-conscious because of these products. So really making sure that people are seeing that content and seeing the transformation it gives us. I don't do that enough. Yeah. I think that would work pretty well. And there was a bit at the end.
Like, so what channel or tactic should I prioritize?
Well, so at the moment, what do? You use Instagram and
TikTok. Yeah, just the main two, really.
Yeah. And those two, which one is bringing you in more customers?
I would say Instagram. is where, yeah, I would say Instagram for sure, but from beauty, you see how like transformative TikTok has been, can be for brands. So I am trying to do more so on that, but TikTok is still more so of a discovery, not much more to the searches on there, if I'm being honest.
From what I've seen, I think TikTok works really well for people discovering a brand, and then Instagram actually converts people. Sometimes I also say it's good to be like a master at one before then go like, okay, we're going to this and we're going to that. And I can understand at the minute, because is it just you?
Yeah.
You don't want to be like, wear yourself thin and be like, okay, I'm going to do 5 posts a day on TikTok and now Instagram and then Pinterest and then this, because I was going to suggest Pinterest. Pinterest does do well, but it's making sure you're building on one platform, and you can even repurpose. But with Instagram, I would say, yeah, it's just how many times you posted?
So on Insta, I was doing last year. I was doing twice, but it was just leading to a lot of burnout. So now I post every day except Friday and Sunday on Instagram, and then TikTok, kind of like sporadically, if I'm honest. But I do at least a minimum of 1 post a day throughout the week. Yeah,
I would say. And then with that, what does content strategy plan look like? There's not much strategy. I'm just like, okay. So probably building that, and even it doesn't have to be super complex. It's like I said, you can do this day I'm going to do founder story, then this day it's going to be like UGC. And when I say UGC, like you could ask your friends, ask family members. You don't have to be paying out of pocket for crazy. And again, as well, I've worked with the brands doing millions, and they could pay a creator and get no sales from that person, and then use a smaller micro creator and then be getting loads of sales from that. So I don't think, like, yes, influencers are good.
You don't have to go big.
You don't have to go exactly. You don't have to go massive. But yeah, building out that content strategy first. Have you ever considered? Have you done ads?
We've done ads before. So we've done ads on Meta, and then we've done a few TikTok ads, and it was okay. But from what I have spoken to with experts that do ads, they're always like, there has to be some sort of traction organically. Yeah, that works better than starting from scratch and then trying to build up that audience. And that's kind of how I've been thinking of it. Okay, try as much organically as possible, and if you do get a hit,
then push your ads. I ads 100% agree with that, because I feel like even with me, a lot of people come to me with, like, might have really small businesses and they're not getting in any sales organically. And then they're like, oh, okay, I want to bring it in through ads. If you're not getting that traction organically, don't then pump money into ads. I think put that effort first into doing all the socials and making sure that, you know, content channel is a stable and consistent way to kind of be bringing in people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And also, I suppose, looking at competitors, you know who your competitors are. And I'm not saying to copy them, but if their content strategy or certain pieces of content are performing really well,
inspiration.
Exactly. And obviously more doing it in a way that represents your brand properly. So, yeah, thank you for that. No problem.
Actually, no problem. I'll get my second question. Okay, how would you approach, so my second question, how would you approach building a cult brand and a genuine emotional connection between Glowcery and our community? So essentially, so they're not just followers, but they feel like they're more part of the brand. So they become more like champions and ambassadors.
Yeah. I think that's a good question. And I literally had a call with the client yesterday about this, because I feel like, especially in a saturated market where people are going to be deciding on, let's say, okay, you have 4 skincare products. If it's just like, okay, I'm looking at the pricing, I'm looking at, oh, is it going to be good for my skin? Sometimes people are more so going to be, like, let's say, if they connect with your story, they're more likely to buy into that brand, as opposed to, oh, is the pricing this, is the pricing that? People will buy whatever. There's still money out there. But, like, what's a good example? You know, Tala, Brace Brother. She does it really well, I feel like, because she ties in both, like, she has loads of UGC content, like showing behind the scenes, but also like the founder story, why she started the company, the struggles that have came with it. Who else does it?
Side does it really well.
Yes,
So good.
she does it really, really well. And I was gonna say, sadly, with Plant-Made too.
Yeah, but
That's a whole story.
yeah, so Emma was incredible.
Yeah, but she did it really, really well. And you could even see when you say like cult-like community, when they sadly kicked her out, all the comments were like, "We're not buying from you without Amazon here again. Why did you do that?" If it was a faceless, if it was like, I don't know, McDonald's, they don't care if the fat has been cooked out. They're like, okay, I'm still buying my. So you want to make sure that. And how did she? She really made, like, again, showing behind the scenes, making sure that
Ingredients. She had to double down on the transformation, as you mentioned in the first question. And she's just marketing genius.
Yeah. So I suppose it's looking at people like that or brands like that and seeing how they went about it. Obviously, not everyone's story is different. Not copying them, but doing it in a way that's real to you.
Yeah.
So that's how I would probably go about it. And even like I made notes about founder story actually. So I'd probably say like, even Ruka does it well too.
Yes.
Yeah. Was it Tendai? Yeah, it does it really well. And even maybe speaking to your customers, you might be able to be like, sit down with, let's say, the hypothetical person. We're saying Hannah, but we'll talk about our friend Hannah. So yeah, sitting down with her and saying, well, because I'm sure in a few of Amma's videos, old Plant-Made ones, she would like speak to. It was more so like family members and talk about. I'm sure her mother. Yeah,
she was then doing interviews with her team who made the product, so it did feel more like a family affair. So yeah, naturally, people would, I suppose, build an affinity, like an emotional connection. To those people. I want to buy her products more.
And I suppose as well, because the brand, sometimes I always say to like smaller founders, you don't want to compare to multi-million-dollar brands too much, because they can speak to the team members, they can speak to pay into the marketing and do all this. Sometimes we need to start small and then scale it up. So like I said, it might start with friends, family members, and then when you get your team members, is speaking to them and speaking to that person, visiting the manufacturing people. And even as well, I'd say with you, like talking about why the specific ingredients you put in the product, why you chose them, and why why you care about your customer enough to actually be like, okay, I'm choosing this instead of a cheaper product. So it might cost you a little more, but it's going to get you those desired results. So yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Final question is, I feel like you've already answered this one. What does a sustainable organic growth strategy look like for a brand like Glowcery, and how do we measure whether it's actually working?
So I think for one, the whole data and analytics of brands is really important. So obviously I come from an ads side of head, but also with social. I'm sure you can see like all the data like on Instagram, on TikTok. So it's understand, like, for example, I sat down with someone who was a talent manager for creators, and she was talking about how they really look at like not just the vanity metrics, because I feel like we get caught up on, oh, it didn't get many views or this, that, and the other, but it's looking at what were the comments saying, were there many shares, were you getting DMs from that specific post, and then actually understanding if people aren't happy. So let's say in your reviews, if you got this took long to come, or these certain things, it's addressing that in the marketing. So you know how these days you have like people will make videos and it's like the little comment saying something, and then the founder might be talking about or addressing it. I think that works well, because nowadays sometimes you see in like businesses Instagrams and they ignore all the comments, or people get mad and it's like, my order hasn't come, and they just ignore them. But those that actually address that, even if it's uncomfortable to do, gain a lot more respect from the customer. I'd also say building an omni-channel approach. So when people might be seeing you on Instagram, but nowadays people are on Instagram, they're on TikTok, they're on Pinterest, they're on Google. It would be making sure that they're seeing you wherever, whatever platform they're on. And it's not so much like, I feel like people would think, even myself, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm bombarding people. They're seeing me too. No, like it's a big thing. But if you think about it, if you look at skin, they're bombarding you with emails. Then they're on a billboard. Then they're on Snapchat. Then they're on TikTok. Then they're on Instagram. They are everywhere. So if they can do it, you can do it. Exactly. So even I'd say like, oh gosh, what was the one? Emails. Did you email?
Who do you do emails? I have an expert working on those emails.
Okay, yeah. So retargeting people, I think, is a big one. When they've seen your stuff on Instagram and then they've gone to purchase, they might have left the product in the cart. Do you have that 7 levels? Yeah, that's good. I just think having that
Ecosystem is there.
okay, sister, but not to overwhelm yourself, build it out slowly and then bring people on. Even if it's like an intern and then they can learn while they're there along, they can do that for you, because I can understand you're doing socials and doing the products and the packaging and this are all a lot. So yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Really,
no problem.
really.
I feel like that kind of, and like the things I put together was like in that. So yeah. Alrighty. Okay, so yeah. That's it. Alrighty. Okay, so do you wanna tell us about you plug the Glowcery. Where can they find you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Glowcery, we're on Instagram and TikTok at the Glowcery Shop. Is our username. Our website is theglowceryshop.com. If you would like to follow me, I'm Roshanne Dorsett on Instagram and TikTok.
Fabulous. Alrighty. Hope you enjoyed the video and we'll see you at the events. See how cute we'll be there. Yes. Fabulous. Okay then. Bye. Bye guys.